Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys, even though we're not a Grit Gym. Tonight we're going to talk about how to reprogram your mind so that you can free yourself to get what you want, essentially. And we're going to use something called reverse thinking, and it might not be quite what you're thinking because first thought, you're like, oh, reverse psychology, no big deal. I can do that on myself. Well, this is a little different, and we're going to get into that in a second. If you don't know who I am, I wrote that book. I run Grit Gym for the last 12 years. I'm absolutely obsessed with the strength and conditioning side of things. The first time I really walked into a weight room and lifted seriously, not just like picking up weights out on the farm and trying to do what the American Gladiators did or harassing the weight set in my grandma's basement. The first time I really started lifting was back in 1997, and I've been doing this stuff ever since. I don't know if there's a week that's gone by where I haven't been in a weight room. So massive obsession with this, tons of books, tons of seminars, tons of coaches that I've hired to deal with my own stuff to get to where my body is as healthy as it can be. Because if you don't have that, you really don't have much else going for you. So, for instance, I had a shoulder issue. That was my first big injury, and it took kind of my first love away from me, which was baseball. And then I had a knee injury, I had a hip injury. I have traumatically injured every joint on the right side of my body, including an injury in 2007 that made it so that I couldn't walk for an entire year. And I didn't have the expertise to get myself back to being able to walk. I had to go to a specialist, and thank God he was around. Otherwise, I still wouldn't be walking. But anyway, there is a link below. If you click on that, you can claim your one-time free consultation. And even if you're not in the area, I'm happy to jump on a phone call. I do this because I want to help people, and first and foremost. And it's the same for everybody else that works at Grit Gym. We're all in this to help people. So we're going to make that hour as informative, as impactful as we possibly can. And I realize I talk about some psych stuff on here most of the time because it's a little bit easier to go and help out in that department than to actually hop on. It's a little bit easier to be one-on-one to help with the physical side of things and to do the assessment. But talking about today with the thinking in reverse is to reprogram your mind so that you can get clarity for what you do want. It's just a different way of thinking. And the question that we usually get, to make a simple example, is like, how do I lose weight? Well, at first glance, if you're sitting there thinking, well, how do I lose weight? Well, your first thought is like, oh my God, it's so complicated. It's like, I'd have to count my calories, and I don't know which calories are good and which calories are bad, and how many are too many. How am I going to calculate how how many I should even eat? And then, what app should I use? And then, I probably have to start tracking how many calories I was burning in workouts, and what happens when I start losing too much weight, and am I ever going to get too skinny? And you see what I mean? It starts getting really complicated when really, if we just stopped and we just said, all right, hold up. And this is my way, the reason I do these videos on here is to try to help people before I can help people, right? So I'm basically trying to earn it. I'm trying to show you guys that we really can help and that we really do want to help. But this will work for you if you think like this. If you stop and you question and you make this question instead of how do I lose weight, instead you would use reverse thinking to find a different solution, which could be how do I gain weight? It's like, well, that one's a lot more simple, right? How do I gain weight? Well, I eat more. How do I gain more fat? Okay, well, I eat more. I work out less. I get less sleep. I don't want my sleep to go well. I want to be as stressed out as I possibly can. I want to sit more, don't move. What else would I do? I'd eat more processed food, not less real foods. I'd probably stay away from a high quality, healthy meats and stick with the really processed. I'd probably eat more Spam. I'd feel worse on a regular basis. I'd probably tell myself nasty things. I'd look in the mirror and just say you're a fat piece of shit or something like that. I shouldn't have cursed. You're just a fat piece of crap, and I'd punish myself that way. That's what I would do if I was trying to gain weight and gain more fat. So now with reverse thinking, you can just make that list that I just made, and then you just do the opposite. It's like, okay, well, eat more. What's the opposite of eating more? Eating less. What's the opposite of staring in the mirror and saying you're such a piece of crap? Well, stare in the mirror and give yourself some positive feedback. Try to look for the best in things, sort of scenario. I'm not saying that talking in a mirror is going to give you your goals. I'm saying it's better off than the alternative to the other. You just made a list of all those things that are going to get you to where you don't want. Now you have an opportunity to get to the things. Now you know the list of things that you can do the opposite of. It was very easy to create the opposite. So eat more, well, not eat less. If I want to gain weight, I'm going to work out less. Okay, well, what do you need to do to lose weight then? I need to work out more. Okay, what else would I do? Well, I wouldn't hire a coach if I was going to try to get fat. I would just try to eat as much as I possibly could and not work out. I wouldn't hire a coach. So what do you need to do? Well, you probably need to eat a coach. Probably need to get a coach. You probably need to, okay, so keep yourself up sleeping, keep yourself from sleeping and stressed out. Okay, well, if we're going to keep ourselves from sleeping and we're going to stress ourselves out more to gain fat, well, then what do we need to do to get the body that we do want? We probably need to try to mitigate the stress that we do have or learn to manage it. And then we probably need to get to bed at a decent hour and wake up at a decent hour, which goes back to, if you're going to have a timer that's going to wake you up in the morning, you better have a timer to tell you when to go to sleep at night. The one going to sleep at night is probably more important than waking up in the morning. I mean, waking up in the morning is so, like, obviously important, but so do all those things. Make your list. What would you do to gain a bunch of fat? And then do the exact opposite. It's just reverse thinking. You can do the same thing with how do I never get injured? I'm so tired of being injured. You know, this was always my thing. You know, I got shoulder, an elbow, a wrist at one point, a hip at one point, a knee at one point. My foot was so bad that I couldn't walk anymore. You know, and it was just volume. It was just too many reps, too much weight, too often. I was just hammering myself to death. Okay, so now I got a good framework for what got me to the injury, right? So what do I got to do to not be injured? Well, I do the opposite of all the things that I ask myself the opposite first. Okay, what's going to get me injured? Well, if I do too many reps with too much weight, I sit for too long, I stop working out entirely. You know, I just let myself go to pieces. If it hurts, I just power through it. You know, I say things to myself like pain is weakness, leaving the body, so that I can dissociate from the pain instead of listening to it the way that you should. I eat worse, you know, I eat more processed foods, I sleep less. What else would I do if I wanted to be more injured? I'd probably get people around me to help me with it. You know, I'd probably tell them to help me push myself more. I'd tell myself degrading things that you can never do it. You'll never be healthy. You know, I'd say stuff like that. I'd probably meditate on the idea of visualizing myself be more banged up so that I would probably be more likely to live at that kind of vibrational level where I'm like inviting or validating it out in the real life, you know? So you end up stubbing your toe just because you're pissed off all the time. So now you've got a list. Now you got, how would you get injured? Now do the exact opposite. You probably need to do less reps with higher quality. You probably need to pick different exercises that you don't have the expertise to pick. So what do you need to do then? You need to get a coach. You probably need to stop saying things like pain is weakness, leaving the body, because it's not. Pain is a message that says, hey, something's up, knock it off. It's a good thing. You want pain. I would eat better. I would not restrict my sleep. These are all just very simple things that everybody already knows how to do. If you want to lose weight or not be injured anymore, get healthy, just ask yourself the thing that got you there. What would make me gain fat and make me lose muscle and make me get injured? And make your list, and then on the other side of the page, just do the exact opposite of all of those things. It's not exactly a positive to break through, but it's like, all right, well, if I wanted to be healthy, I probably should take my fish oil and my vitamins. It's like, all right, what's the best way to be unhealthy then? To not take them, all right? What would be the best way to push people away from me and make sure that I never have any friends, right? Would be another way of reverse thinking. Like, instead of saying, how do I get friends, you know, or how do I make people feel good if they're around me? You know, it's like you do the exact opposite. So if you were going to say, how do I get more friends? Well, let's do the reverse of that. And let's say, how do you get less friends? It's like, okay, well, I complain all the time. I don't smile. I tell people that they're terrible. I am impolite. I show up late all the time. What are some other ones? Anyway, I just do all those things. And then I wouldn't have any friends. And no one would like me. And I would validate that whole thing of how do I get people to not like me. And then if you want to figure out how to get people to like you, or to have more friends, or to be more welcoming and safe to be around, you do the exact opposite of those things. You can apply this to anything. I encourage you to use it. I do need to get going. I needed to just make a fast live video here. I hope you guys got something out of it. I hope that you do let us help with your injury, with your situation, because a little bit of guidance goes a very, very, very long way. We have a ton of experience with this kind of stuff. Gym has been open for 12 years. I've been doing this professionally for 15, and I've been in the space for a lot longer than that. Hired tons of coaches. I hope that you guys will let us help. Tori is very good. Everybody is very good out there. But this is a way that you can get your brain to wrap itself around a new idea. It's like, how do I get X? You know, like, how do I get $1 million? I don't know. How do I get $1 million? Okay, how do you stay poor? It's like, all right, well, get fired from my job, don't put in good quality work, alienate all my coworkers, blow all my money on stuff that I shouldn't be blowing, take out a bunch of credit card debt, and then you probably, whatever that thing is, you probably should do the exact opposite. You can do this with anything. It's a very nice way to get out of your own way, to gain clarity on what you do want, and it's been extremely helpful for all the people that I've done this with, and all the times that I've done it myself, where it's just like, you're stuck, you don't know what to do, you're at your wit's end, you're feeling helpless and hopeless. Sit down, make your list of the exact opposite of what you do want, and then do the opposite of that thing, and it's going to create a little bit of clarity. This was one of the things that came down to it when I finally hired my first coach for the things like, basically, I was talking with somebody about this today. Now I'm making myself late. Shit. If it's important, I get a coach in my life. So health, wealth, relationships, time. I get a coach. So I get coaches to help me with health. I get coaches to help me with my relationship. I get coaches to help me be better at finances. I get coaches to help me be better at time. So if something is important to you, get a coach, because it just opens up a world of opportunities for you. But anyway, click the link below, sign up for your one-time consultation. We're here to help. I'm out.